Hello Tubers, it's me Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. Today, as the title will suggest, we're looking at the completed build of HMS Amethyst in her 1949 guise. So that's when Amethyst went up the Yangtze River to replace HMS Consort as the guard ship for the British legation up there. And she never reached it. The communists opened fire from they moved forward onto the left bank, I believe, of the Yangtze, and the nationalists nominally held by then the other side of the bank. And really, realistically, she should never have been there. HMS Consort should never have been up in the, doing the job beforehand, because they used to turn around. I don't know if it was a month or something like that they did, but it was a disaster waiting to happen, really. And I know we can look at hindsight, but even the American, the United States Navy, their legation asked for a guard ship, and they were flatly refused because they said trying to stick any type of ship. I did say ship. Well, I meant to say ship. Up on the Yangtze against gun emplacements that could be easily put in. It was a disaster waiting to happen. We'd also, as usual, as the Brits do, had run everything down. Even the ships that were operating that area were on reduced crews, so they didn't even have enough gunners for the guns on Amethyst or any of the other ships, as far as I'm aware. They'd usually have at least one turret, would not have a crew, or even two. I think Amethyst had, out of her three turrets, had or gunning. I mean, they're open turrets, but you know what I mean. Had only two that could be used at any one time with a full crew. And we didn't have, I think, even aircraft carriers. We didn't. The nearest air support any guard ship could obtain from as in the UK, was Hong Kong. I've decided to not do her going up the Yangtze or going down. So she was going down because she escaped after a long time, run up on a sandbank and literally blown holes all over the place. Many crew killed, wounded. I've decided to have her as she was left Hong Kong, just because I put Rob, by the way, who sent me the. He's not got a store or anything like that. He's just a fellow modeler, and he knows I like these small ships, and he sent me several over time. So thanks again, Rob. I'm much appreciated. I don't know why. For some reason, you keep looking this way, Gav. I have no idea. So I don't understand this phone videoing method, but we'll go with it. Yeah, he sent me that, so I appreciate that, Rob. And it does come with a Union flag, and it's only called the Union Jack when it's actually flown from the Jack staff of the ship. It should be the Union flag. Union flag was draped over either side, and it looks like a broom handle or something just to weight it down was put on the end as she was going up the river, even before she was attacked. I decided, because he'd given me a load of crew to go with it as well, little crew figures, I put them in a more of a casual pose, and I didn't think it really suited. They knew they weren't expecting to be attacked, but obviously she would have still been on alert, and I've put the crew in more of a walking around the ship type of look. So I'm having her as she left Hong Kong. I presume she was leaving Hong Kong, because I've got a nice picture of her, and she was immaculate. There was not a piece of rust that I could see or anything, and I've also painted her like that. So yeah, she's a resin ship. Starling Models. Give them a shout out. Showing it back to front there. I don't know if that's going to come out on the video or not. I'm not sure. But yeah, Starling Models. It's a resin kit. They now do all 3D printing with the photo etch and everything. This was a resin cast piece, and the problem I encountered with her is she's got a bow on her, which I'll show you in a minute, on the stern area. It's not a complete banana, but it's enough that it throws out a bit in the water, and I've had to do the effect. She's going along maybe a bit too white caps along the side. She was as if she's putting a right speed on. It's mainly just to cover she doesn't sit properly in my little base. So yeah, she's a resin cast ship, one of Starling's older ones, I'd imagine, with a photo etch, you know, railings and radar fit and everything like that. So let's go down to the bench and take a look. Right, guys, here's my 1 in 700 HMS, or 1 in 700 scale HMS Amethyst. She did serve in the latter stages of the Second World War, where she was credited with sinking 2 U-boats, but I think one was taken off her post-war when they realised it hadn't been sunk, or it had been sunk by somebody else. I can't remember, but she did definitely sunk 1 U-boat as part of one of the hunting groups we had in the mid-Atlantic. And probably if I was doing that fit, because she had a different fit, as we call it, I could have got away with her maybe plunging into some North Atlantic swell, because you can still see the slight bow on the stern area, as you can see there. But it's still been a really nice little project. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. You do need to do, because it's a cast piece, obviously lots of small cast pieces, you have to do some filling. And because it's a sort of small ship, trying to do that filling isn't always easy. And I managed to bend a lot of the photo etch all over the shop, as you can see. I've given her the dark green deck with the oxide red bow and stern. I think even Starling had said it was dark grey, but I'd seen on a lot of sites and a lot of the larger scale RC HMS Amethysts, and they'd painted theirs dark green. And then I looked at a couple of, you know what it's like. Then there's suddenly a load of discussions on what colour decks were there at the time, and somebody popped up saying his dad actually painted the decks and they were dark green. So, I've just gone with that. I've just gone with the dark green. See our tiny little crew figures. Again, I've just tried to put them in casual poses. Groups being told what to do next by this gun here. Several obviously on the bridge area. This is the only thing with these doing it from your phone. I'm having to look over the top of the camera where I'm pointing. Frame here is actually a sun, like an awning to go over the main bridge area, but it was down at the time of going up the Yangtze, I think. So it was just the frame that was up. We've got the 2 twin 40mm Bofors guns, I believe, would probably have been swung inboard, pointing probably either more than likely pointing towards the stern, was it, or might be pointing towards the bow, I don't know, rather than swung out. But I'd swung them out just so I could see these Hazelmire, because these are called the Hazelmire mounts, and they weren't very successful. They're like a radar. It's supposed to be able to calculate things for the gunners to make it easier, but they were so delicate. I think they're always breaking down. By then, she'd only got 2 single 20mm Oerlikons, one either side. Obviously, plenty of depth charges still. I'd seen one where they got the 2 ensigns flying, and I'd seen one flying, if not from Amethyst, but from one of the sister ships, up near the radar fit. And in the end, I went for the 2 on this strengthening beam here that strengthens the antenna wires. But yeah, I think the crew, thanks Rob, the crew really do add something. I know they're tiny figures, and all I've done is put white and skin tones on them, because from what I could see, when they weren't obviously on something, like leaving harbour or something where they had to be fully dressed, and that a lot of the time they were just going around in shorts and shoes, from what I could see. Sometimes with their hats on. And just to fish one of my lighters out that I use for melting CA glue. So that just gives you the classic photograph next to something smallish. So and the colour, I know you can get like Sovereign Hobbies, I think it is, their paints are supposedly exact copies of Royal Navy colours, but I just mixed my own. I was happy with that. Obviously the masts are often black there, just because they get a lot of soot from the the small funnel that's there. Yeah, so no, the decals are a bit of almost like a homemade job, I think, in that they weren't fantastic to lay down. That was quite a struggle, especially on the stern. Um, and I almost went into actually just getting that off and just writing it on myself. But yeah, no, I like it. She's going to go in the cabinet now in a in what little plastic case and be enjoyed. As I say, it's not perfect. I know it's not perfect. Uh, and apart from people that know the subject better than me, saying, "Oh, that's wrong and this is wrong and all the rest of it's wrong," it. I know modelling wise, it's not perfect. I mean, to say the ship railings and that are all over the shop, but it is what it is. I've had lots of fun doing it, and I greatly appreciate Rob sending it to me. So yeah, and just the base is just a piece of foam. When I get really decent at doing these, I'll really throw a lot at doing the bases. But it's a piece of blue foam. I had originally going to put her up the Yangtze River, and I painted like a Yangtze browny yellow colour. And then thought once she didn't sit down properly in there, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to have to put a load of stuff at the side and that just to try and hide this raise at the stern. And I can't really do that on the Yangtze, although she was going at full pelt when she obviously started coming under fire. I thought no, it'd be best just to at least maybe get away with it on a out to sea type base. So obviously just put in some greens and blues and darker blues and that just to give it some more depth to it. So yep, that's it. So HMS Amethyst in a 1949, guys. I've said to you guys before, if you want to know more of the Amethyst, they did a film in the 1950s with a British actor called Richard Todd, who actually was who actually landed on D-Day with the Paras. Anyway, he um, he did a lot of these type of films in the 50s and early 60s, and it's called the Yangtze Incident. The Yangtze Incident. So just put that in YouTube and you'll find shorts of it, and you'll see HMS, because HMS Amethyst, the still photos, the still bits that they filmed with them on ship and that was HMS Amethyst, but she was up for going for razor blades, so scrapping. And the moving bits, her sister ship HMS Magpie had to do the bits when she was underway because she was still being used. But unfortunately, poor old Amethyst was going for razor blades, as they say. So they used her for filming, and I think a year later she went for disposal. So thanks a lot for stopping by and taking a look. It's been a lovely little project, and I'm glad I've got it done. So look after yourselves, and we'll catch each other soon on another video.